recorded to my computer. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, and this is kind of a special Zoom presentation. And I'm going to start the meeting with a quote, one of my favorite quotes. I'm going to start the meeting with a quote and end the meeting with a quote. This quote, I believe, is from Eleanor Roosevelt. And she said, "With the new day comes new strength and new thoughts." So I promise you, if you do the thing that I'm showing you today, and Brittany's getting on, so let Brittany in the room. If you do the thing that I'm talking about today, I promise before 5 o'clock p.m., that's in less than 6 hours, you will have an appointment, okay? In less than 6 hours, you will have an appointment to talk to somebody. And our business is all about communication. It's all about talking to people, meeting people. If you don't do that, you have no chance. If you sit in a room and you read all day or you search the internet for things, it's not going to get you an appointment. So the best way to get an appointment is to talk to people. And this gives you the ability to talk to people. So let me share my screen and let's get started with all this. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you, El. So today we're going to be talking about, let me just move a few things around. Okay, can't do that. Secrets of working for sale by owner homes. So the reason I'm doing this today is because it's so important for all of you to get an appointment. Some of you more than others. Some of you, a few of you, and those that might be listening have never had an appointment in the business and don't know how to go about it. Well, I'm going to show you the way to go about it. And from this quote from Confucius, life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. And realtors are really good at this. We can make things really complicated, but today I'm going to show you how to go after the simple. Just do the simple thing. Okay, I'm going to need to move something out of the way here, so I won't be able to see you guys. But okay, I put this presentation up on our private Facebook page at EXIT Realty Elite. So this presentation will be there. So you don't have to badly make all kinds of notes and then miss something. It'll all be there. You can download it or you can just bring it up and you can grab these. This is the one most important quote that you need to know. And it changes from year to year, but then the numbers are usually a year behind. That's okay. But this statistic is something you've got to have and you've got to know it. So memorize it. You know, promise yourself you're going to memorize this. So here it is. When pricing your home, consider that FSBO houses tend to sell for a lower price than agent-assisted sales. According to the National Association of Realtors 2022 profile of home buyers and sellers, the median sales price of a FSBO home in 2021, Paul is on here, so I'm glad he's here. The median sales price of a FSBO home in 2021, and Michael, okay, was $225,000, while the median price of an agent-assisted home was $345,000. You can take this to the bank. When you're working with people who have their homes for sale by owner, this is something that they need to know, and you need to make sure that they know. Because one of the biggest objections you're going to have is not wanting to pay your commission. And we'll talk about that in a minute, why people do for sale by owner. I mean, people don't try to generate phone calls, sales calls to their home and to themselves on purpose, unless they're trying to do something. And in this case, it's usually about saving a buck, and that's why they are doing it. So no, there's a huge difference, and there's a huge opportunity you offer to FSBO sellers because of how much money, more money you can bring to the table than they'll likely get themselves if they try to sell the home themselves. Now, the good thing about this statistic is that it's all over the internet. I mean, when people, especially FSBOs, are searching and they're putting their home up on the market, this number is going to come up. It's consistent. And as you know, in the news, things aren't always consistent. But the 2022 profile of home buyers and sellers from the National Association of Realtors is a consistent number from year to year. So put this in your memory banks, put it up there, write it down, put it on your mirror so you can look at it every morning, because we offer huge value to for sale by owners. Okay. And let me see if I can advance my screen. I might have to stop and go back. Let me go back. All right, go forward. Can everybody still see me? Ah, gosh darn it. How did that happen? All right, is everybody still there?
Present.
I'm here.
Oh, everybody's still there. Okay, I thought I clicked everybody off because I can't see you on my screen any longer. All right, so home sellers and their selling experience. I'll go through this very quickly. Again, this presentation is loaded up on our private Facebook page. The typical
Hey,
home
Jim,
sell.
we can't see your screen.
Okay, so let me see what I'm going to need to do here. I'm going to try to hit the escape, and I'm going to hit play. Let me hit escape again. Let me go back here. Let me hit share screen. And I think you're about to see it. Okay, can you see this? Am I back? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, okay. So the typical home seller, 60 years old, an increase from 56 last year. And I think the reason I'm going through these numbers is, as a realtor, I think it's really important for you to know who the typical home seller is. Just in your daily conversation, in your knowledge of who to prospect, who to work with. For all sellers, the most commonly cited reason for selling their home was a desire to move closer to friends and family. That's important too. You know, Paul talked yesterday about the why and about conversations. It's important to find out why people are selling their homes. And 21%, it's to move closer to friends and family. Moving due to retirement. That came up yesterday. The neighborhood, that was yesterday, became less desirable, so that people want to move. Sellers typically lived in their home for 10 years before selling. Now, that's a pretty good clue for how to prospect. If the typical person lives in their home for 10 years, I'm guessing they do something else in the 11th year. So if I'm keen in on prospecting, I might be looking for people who have lived in their home for 6 to 12 years, because I know there's more likely chance that they're going to be moving. Statistically, there's a better chance. 41% of sellers traded up to a larger home, and 32% purchased the same size home. 86% of homeowners worked with the real estate agent to sell their home. That's another really important number for you to know when you're talking to a for sale by owner, or anybody for that matter, that if they're trying to sell it themselves, they're in the minority. They're in a huge minority. 10% sold via FSBO, and less than 1% sold via iBuyer. And our last slide, we'll be talking about an iBuyer that some of you aren't familiar with. For recently sold homes, the final sale price was a median of 100% of the final listing price, the highest recorded since 2002. Recently sold homes were on the market for a median of 2 weeks, an increase from 1 week last year. Only 20% of sellers offered incentives to attract buyers, a drop of 26% of all sellers last year. And I know Paul on this call could tell you about, the time that we've been in real estate and the incentives that we had to work with, to create, to work with sellers to try to get their homes sold because the market was so slow. Now, for sale by owners, 10% of recent home sales were FSBOs, and that's up from 7. So 10% of all home sales were FSBOs. That means, to me, 90% aren't, okay? The majority of FSBO sellers, 50% knew the buyer of the home. So, you know, I've worked with a lot of sellers who, and I've done listings with sellers who said, I would list, but I have my friend Bob who told me he would like to buy the home. And I can do a listing in a manner where Bob is written off, where I say, well, let's list your home, let's market your home. And if Bob ends up to be the eventual buyer, I won't take a commission. You can have Bob, so that we can do that in our business. Within rural, 13% sold via FSBO compared to 6% of sellers in suburban areas. And FSBOs typically sell for less, and that's a one statistic that we had, typically sell for less than the selling price of other homes. Of course, you can see the number. FSBO homes sold at a median of $225, significantly lower than the median of agent-assisted homes. Now, there's a lot of things on here, and I'm not going to go all through it, or we'll be here all day, and I know you have things to do. But there's several reasons why some FSBOs ultimately choose to work with a real estate agent. And these are things that you should know, because when you're working with a FSBO, if they're unwilling to list at the time that you have an appointment with them, you do want them to ultimately choose to work with you. And that's part of the method that I used in working with FSBOs. So they're selling a home, they realize that there's legal, there's financial things, and they choose to work with you because of a lack of experience and knowledge. That's something that you have or you need to get. Limited exposure, and you need to make sure they understand the limited exposure that they have. You know, one of the things that I mentioned yesterday at the end of Paul's call, Paul's meeting, was how important stories are in your work. I think you can probably find stories that would go along with limited exposure. And I think factually, you can look at limited exposure from a realistic point of view. If you're marketing your property and the only thing you've done is put it on a local website and a sign in your yard, you're certainly not going to get viewers of that home that the MLS offers with tens of thousands of people that are looking for homes. So the pool shrinks when you try to sell your home yourself. You need to know that. You need to make sure that they understand that having their property on one single site, or some don't even do that. They just put a sign in the yard, and a really ugly sign at that you can hardly read. Next, our marketing and advertising expertise. Do you have marketing and advertising expertise? If you don't, that's why FSBOs ultimately choose to work with a real estate agent. Negotiating skills. You know, when Paul was going through the meeting yesterday, the negotiating skills is the one thing that I think is one of the most important things that you can offer anyone. Realtors usually don't talk about their negotiation skills when they're doing presentations. And I know it was one of those things that I would hang my hat on when I was working with any client, that you can choose to work with Bob or Mary or Sue or whatever realtor you choose to work with. But I can promise you something. No one has the negotiation skills that I have. And I've done more than 2,000 transactions over the last 15 years because I believe I'm able to negotiate the very best for my clients. Time and convenience. Selling a home requires a significant investment in time. And FSBOs usually learn in the first 30 days that, holy mackerel, I didn't realize there were going to be so many calls, that my day was going to be so interrupted. And I don't have the skills. This isn't convenient for me. I need to work and choose to work with a real estate agent. And next is legal protection. Real estate transactions, as you know, just, a couple of weeks ago when Jerry did his presentation, and his presentation was on the contracts. And maybe some of you had your eyes open, like, holy cow, there's a lot of stuff there. If it's difficult for us to understand, just realize how difficult it's probably going to be for somebody trying to do their own transaction. A lot of times when I would sit down with the FSBO, I would pull out the forms in the listing presentation I was doing, and I would say, are you in a position to provide all of these forms to the person who's interested in buying your home? And they would look at it, and like a deer in headlights. And we know that. So legal protection. So what if I could guarantee today that you'll have an appointment tonight before 5 o'clock? How many of you would find that worth listening to the rest of this? Is that worth it? Okay, because I promise you,
Yes.
if you do this, I guarantee I don't have $100,000 to give you, but you will have an appointment before 5 o'clock tonight. So I think you need to understand a few things. Yeah, I think it's valuable for you to understand FSBOs, to understand their mind, what they're thinking, and why they are selling the home themselves. Most of them, 46%, are doing it to save money. That's why that first number I gave you, why it's so important for you to know that you understand that they're trying to save money. And by using you, in fact, will actually net them more money. So if they really want to maximize the value of their home and the net receipt of what they sell the home for, it's going to be smart for them to use an agent. Sometimes, we're short-sighted. They think if they don't pay a 3%, or if they have to pay 3%, that they're going to lose it. That's why the negotiation skills are so important. So you can look at these numbers and you can look at the statistics here. These are why people decide to sell homes themselves. And as I said, usually most of them in the first 30 days, if the home doesn't sell, 33% of them realize that their saving time didn't work out to that at all. They actually spent a lot of wasted time talking to people that knocked their door, came to their door, set an appointment, some that didn't show up, others that showed up that you have no idea if they're really a serious buyer. You have no idea. You don't know that they're not an axe murderer. You have no idea. They could be anybody. They could be casing the home to steal everything inside this weekend. And they're just going through the home to see what's in there. So check out these statistics. I think having a knowledge of these numbers are important. And there's more numbers. Why sellers don't FSBO, okay? Here's why they don't. And you can look at these statistics as well. The infographic shows that an increasing number of homeowners are using real estate agents while the number of for sale by owners is declining each year. Don't you think that's important for you to know when you're speaking with someone that's thinking of selling their home themselves, that most people are choosing not to do this? And because most people want to be in the majority, they want to do the things that everybody else is doing. We don't want to be usually the only one doing our own thing. We want to be along with the masses. So these numbers will show, the sale price again is on here. It'll show and tells us that FSBO takes 19 more days to sell. It's important to know how much it's really going to cost them to wait an additional 19 days if they're selling their property. If you find out why they are moving and it's to get somewhere quickly, it's important for you to know that FSBOs take 19 more days to sell, because that could mean the difference between getting their kid in the school that they want at the time that school starts or getting to the job on time. Know these numbers. It's important. So here's 4 tips plus some scripts for making FSBOs your clients. Okay. Action step number 1 is finding them. Homeowners typically decide to sell their home when they have a major life-changing event. They're retiring. Talked about this yesterday, Paul. Becoming an empty nester, divorcing, starting a new job, deciding to make a move. So where do you find FSBOs? And you can find them all over the place. But here's a couple. If you go to these sites, you don't need to write these down. This is loaded up. But if you just Google for sale by owner Dallas, you're going to get all kinds of different sites, some that provide websites for those people selling them, their homes themselves. There will be some realtors which have loaded their listings on that site. But you can find out, you can get the name of people that are selling the homes themselves, and you can get their phone number there. So you can use Facebook as well. You can use Craigslist. And so the Craigslist is a real long URL, and you'll find that if you look at the presentation on our site. So here's what you need to do to have an appointment by 5 o'clock today. Number one, you have to make the call. You have to talk to the person. Now, these are people who have said, I am selling my home. I want a buyer. They're looking for calls. So you're not intruding in anybody's life. You're not interrupting their life. They asked for this. You want to just make the call and let them know that you want to look at their home. Number two, make a great first impression. Think about the impression you're going to make, not just when you walk in the door of your appointment, but on the phone. How prepared are you? Now, we don't have a lot of time to prepare for today. If you wait until you're prepared, you'll never do it. I promise you, you'll never do it because you'll never be prepared the way that you think you need to be prepared. Make a great first impression. Do everything you can to look professional. Looking professional is huge. Are you going to look like all the other realtors, or are you different than the other realtors? Next, build a relationship. This is a relationship-based business. And so my method, and the method that was taught to me, is having a relationship with for sale by owners, and actually a relationship with everybody that I work with. Build a relationship. Think of this as not a slam dunk, but a way for you to meet people, to offer them what you have that you believe will help them. And it has to be important that you are doing this to help them. And to do that, you build a relationship so they know you, like you, trust you. And then next, you have to convert them. So we got the four things. You have to make a call. You have to make a great first impression. How are you going to do that? Build a relationship with them, and you have to convert them. Now, this isn't just a less than 1 hour Zoom call, because learning FSBOs is something that you can do very easily by listening to others who have walked the walk and done this before and are doing it. So again, the internet offers so much. Old guys like Paul and I, when we got into the business, 30 years or longer ago, there was no internet. There was no way to learn from others unless we went to a seminar or paid to go to a class, or were lucky enough to have a mentor and or a broker that we worked with who would help us in the business. Now there's so much knowledge out there. So here's a few of them that you could go to today, tomorrow, whenever you want, and learn from them. Now, listen, most of these people here are trying to sell something, right? One of them, Mr. Luther, in the bottom left-hand corner, How to Beat Objections from FSBOs. If you listen to his YouTube, it's going to be 30 minutes of him teaching you, and 15 minutes of that is going to be trying to sell you on his coaching. I would recommend to you this always. Don't buy anything until you talk to Paul or myself or somebody that's been in the business for a while. Okay, don't buy it because you don't have to in this case. So here are 3 questions that you want to make sure that you have in your arsenal. When you're making a phone call, these are things that you can deviate from the script I'm going to give you, but These work as well. There's no one script that's better than others. And I'm going to give you the link to several places where you can go to get scripts. You don't need one. You can use what I've got here, and I'm telling you it will work. So you can search for them, but you want to know when you make the call, you can use, is your home still available? Can I include your home on my list? Now, one of the things that I teach is that using the strength of Paul's office, and I've talked with some of you directly about this, use the strength of the number of agents that we have and make the agents in our office part of your team. You want your clients to believe, because in essence, it's really true in our office because we're so cooperative and we work together, that you're part of a team. You picked a number of 24 agents at EXIT Realty Elite. And my team has put together a list for our buyers. So if any one of us have a buyer, they can look at the list that we've built as a team to direct them to homes just like yours. And I'd love to include your home on my list. Can I do that? When would be a good time for me to see your home? Okay. Okay, so here's my script. I hope you can see it. If you can't, again, I loaded it up. I'm going to read it. This is so simple that you're not going to believe me, but I'm telling you, this is what I used. This is what I taught to, the agents that were part of my company. Hi, my name is Jim Mazziotti, a real estate consultant with EXIT Realty Elite here in the DFW Metroplex, or if you want to say the town, you can. In my research, I discovered that your property is for sale by owner, and I am hoping I could set an appointment to view your property. Is your property still available? I'd love to preview your property for our buyers. Now, from this, remember, there might be questions. Well, how many buyers do you have? And how do I know you have buyers? So prepare for what they might say, but don't worry about it. Just go forward with this. Would tomorrow at 3 o'clock or Sunday at 4 be better for you for me to stop by and view your home? That's it. That is the script. Now, there's other scripts that you can find that I've even provided you with the links for. I'm telling you, I promise you, if you make calls today, if you simply go to for sale by owner sites, you're going to find people's names, you're going to find their phone numbers, and all you have to do is make the call. Hi, whatever your name is, this is Bob, a real estate consultant with EXIT Realty Elite. If you don't want to mention that you're with a certain real estate company, you don't even have to do that. Because they're going to hear your name, they're going to hear that you're a real estate consultant, and they may interrupt you when you get to that. I can tell you, they may interrupt you and say, hey, no, listen, we can end the call. I'm not working with real estate agents, and I'm not interested in listing my home. My answer to them is, well, I am a real estate agent, but I am not interested in listing your home. Now I am, but I want to remove that objection. I'm not interested in listing your home. I have in our company, and my team in my company works to find homes for our buyers. And my team is 24 agents, and we work to find homes for them. I just want to know if your home's still available. And before I could recommend it to any of my buyers or our team's buyers, I certainly would want to look at it to make sure it's the kind of home that we would recommend to our buyers. So this is the basic script. Now, you want to be clear that you're part of a 20-agent real estate team. If you want to use 20, if you want to use 15, it matters not. I use 20. It's easy to remember, and that's about what it was in my office. I had a office of about 30 agents, and I would use this and teach the agents to have it, just claim a team of 20 real estate agents, because in any office, that's about how many are working. If you've got 30, 20 are working, 10 are somewhere else or not interested in really working real estate, that are in desperate need of properties for our buyers. And you want to be sure that you are aware, and we want to be sure and familiar with every property that's available in our market area. And again, know the statistics. You can get this, keep in current matters, know the national statistics. You can find them in our local MLS. Be clear that you're not interested in listing the property. That's what I try to do. That's where I got the success. The listing part of your appointment it's up to you. It's in how you feel and what you can provide to that seller at that time and going forward. Now, one of the things that I did that you could do as well that seemed to work for me, and I've told some of you this, is that when I would look at the home, I would have a sheet where I was keeping my notes. And because I need to keep notes because I forget how many bedrooms are in every home and what they have and what kind of cabinets they might have. I want to write those things down. I do a home audit, and my sheet actually says a home audit. I ask them, do you mind if I take notes? Because I want to make sure I don't miss any features of your home. So when we talk to our buyers, they know why your home might be the right home for them. So when I go in, I try to establish the ability to have a relationship with them. We'll walk through the home. Can you give me a tour of your home, please? You go through the home. While you're going through the home, you just have regular conversation. Tell me how long you've lived here. Why did you purchase this home? Do you love the neighborhood? Where are you moving to? You ask them the questions. You want to ask the questions. If I were to find a buyer for your home, are you paying a consideration to real estate agents? You need to decide before you go what you want from this. I would just ask for 3% and negotiate down if you have to. Just make it part of your business that you're going to ask for 3%. They may tell you, but 3%. So you want to make a good impression at that time. Say, well, that's fantastic. I'm going to make sure that you're on my list. Is there anything I can do to provide value to you as you're trying to sell your home yourself? Look for things that you can do to add value, because most real estate agents aren't going to bother to tour the home. They're not going to be like you. They're not going to call to get an appointment to look at the home. They're going to call telling that person that they're the #1 realtor in the Metroplex and they need to list their home with them because they're so good and they're so wonderful. That's what most agents do. Yours is different because you're going to go to the home, you're going to set the appointment, go to the home, you're going to actually view the home, and then you're going to find ways to provide value to them and show them that you are competent. And you're going to work so that when they do decide to sell their home and list their home because they're tired of trying to market it themselves, they'll think of you. Now, the one thing that I did is very simple. I would look for a flyer when I went in the home. And most people have some kind of flyer that they created, just like we do when we do open houses. But what I notice is most flyers that people create themselves, most, not all, just really suck. They're really bad. They don't have the right statistics. They don't have, the pictures on there maybe are the ink wasn't good. You can't read it. You can't see it. They're really bad. So I found that as an opportunity to go back to the office. I would say, thank you for allowing me to view your home today. I hope I can add value to you. If you have any questions about the forms that you have to use, anything that I can help you with, please reach out to me. Before I would leave, I take a picture of the front of the house. I would then go to my office and I would make a flyer with the features of that home. That's why I wrote everything down, because I can't remember if the bedroom was blue or red. I can't remember any of that. I would create a flyer and then I would go back to the house that same day, preferably. I would go back to the house. I would knock the door. I wouldn't set an appointment. I'd knock the door and I would have 6 flyers in my hand, just 6, not 20, not 30, 6. And I would say, hey, Martha, I'm or Mrs. Jones, whatever. I'm so sorry to bother you. I just noticed when I looked at your home that the flyers that you have don't have, I think, all the information that might be helpful to a buyer. And so I just made these for you, and I hope it helps. Hey, thanks a lot, and hope to talk to you soon. Lots of luck. Hope you get your home sold. I would leave 6 because I know that, and hoping, especially in this market, they would run out of flyers. And what are they going to do if they run out of flyers? They're going to call you. They're going to call you to get more flyers. It gives you another touch. We're looking for touches and ways to communicate with these people. So be clear that you're not interested in listing the property. That's what other agents do. Clarify whether or not that they're offering a commission, and you have one goal. Your one goal today and every day is to get the appointment. So we could go through some of these, but I'm not going to take your time because it's a busy Friday. I know it is. Here's some suggested information sources. Again, these are all loaded and available for you to print off or for you to view and do whatever you want with them. But from some of the top coaches that teach doing for sale by owners, I have a couple news reports, the US News and World Report, that will tell a little bit about how for sale by owners work. There's a site called RedX, about the center of the page, RedX, and RedX has scripts for you. They're trying to sell a product. They're trying to sell an easy way for you to get leads where you don't have to go to the internet and type in for sale by owner properties in Dallas or whatever city that you're in. They will provide all of those to you. Whenever a for sale by owner goes on the internet, on Zillow, Truly, or whatever, they pick it up and they'll sell it back to you. So you don't have to worry about it. All you have to do is go to their page every day. They actually, I think, send you an email every day, and you can have a call list of all the new for sale by owners without having to do all the work. What I'm trying to do today is show you a free and quick way for you to get an appointment. You don't need RedX. You can do this on your own. I don't think all of you are so busy that you don't have the time to do some of the research yourselves. There's another one, little lower, Vulcan Leads. It's another company that does leads. Okay, so there's some ideas for information sources. Now, one thing that we talked about last September, we had Brian Wilmermuth that came into our office and talked about Zincasa. And I would recommend that you familiarize yourself with Zincasa. And I brought Brian into the office to talk to you about an alternative for those people that might be doing this, selling their homes themselves. This is another way. It's an iBuyer program that is an excellent opportunity for you to offer an alternative to listing the property. You're looking in your bag of tools for things that you do different than other agents. This program through Zincasa gives you the ability to work with somebody and do it in a way where they get an instant offer on their property. You get paid for that, and you will get the listing of that property once Zincasa purchases it. This presentation isn't about that, but I think you need to know all the tools you have in the shed. And Zincasa is an excellent tool for you to, even if you're working with the for sale by owner. Listen, you've decided not to list your home the traditional method of the MLS. And there's iBuyer programs. I'm sure you've heard of them. There's this program, there's that program. I have one that I think might work real well for you if you're interested in not going through all the hoops of listing your home with a realtor. I think I could get an instant offer on your home and have something within 48 hours. Is that something that might be of value to you? Okay, Zincasa is just another alternative for you. So here's the last quote that I wanted you to see. It says, "You are the package." Paul talked about this yesterday. Packaging can make a product, and a remarkable packaging can make a product remarkable. I did a class in our office more than a year ago about how you can be remarkable, how you can stand out from other real estate agents. You need to find out what things you need to do to be remarkable, how to be the total package, to be the package that people are looking for. What can you do to make your packaging remarkable? I think during the class yesterday, I sent Elle my 35-step marketing program that's actually pretty dated, but it's some of the bullet points, and Elle had some good ideas because I know he's thought this through and has them. I know Paul has an excellent differentiator that shows why he's a good choice for people. I encourage you to do the same thing. Find everything that you can, discover everything you can about yourself as to why anybody would want to use you. They don't want somebody that's like everybody else. They want somebody that's the total package, don't you? I mean, you want the same thing. You want the total package. That's what you want in real estate. So I'm at 43 minutes. I have some other things I can show you, but I don't think I need to. I don't think I need to show you any articles or pull them up. I think all we need to talk about is what question do you have about making a call today? How do you make the call? Where do you find them to make sure you're clear on where you can find a for sale by owner? You've got the script. You don't know what you're going to do. I understand. You don't know how to act. This is something that you don't do within minutes. This is something that you learn and you practice it and you become excellent at what you do. But I think it's really important that you throw your hat in a ring, that you get busy with this and you set an appointment today using the script that I use, because you will get one. Somebody will say, well, sure, come on over. I'm not working with realtors, but yeah, if you got some buyers, yeah, come on over. That is an appointment that will get you in the door and get you the conversation that you so desperately need. And I often get tired of hearing that agents don't have any business. Well, if you want business, here you go. It's been laid out for you. This isn't rocket science. This is about as simple as you can get. And it will give you the opportunity to set an appointment today, to walk into someone's home, and then to do the very best that you can and learn each day what was missing from the last presentation that you did. What could you have done differently, and what will you do differently tomorrow than the way that you did the appointment today? If you get appointments and you talk to people, there's other things that you need to do. We need to learn how to follow up, okay? Can't cover that in this call. You need to know the techniques for following up. You need to have a database of people. You need to know and understand drip campaigns and staying in touch, because other agents won't. Other agents will make the call. They'll try to get the listing and then they'll disappear. That's good for us because there's so many agents that suck. There's so many bad agents. That's good for us. It's going to give you the opportunity to be different than everybody else. And then next, you really need a powerful listing presentation. And that's where you have the differentiator in what you do better than anybody else. The tools, for instance, that EXIT offers that other companies don't have. You need to know the tools. You need to know how to use them. You need to be able to show them. And so there's a lot more to learn. So I urge you to make a call today, to set an appointment. I'd love to know when you do that. I'd love to follow you doing that. And I'd love to hear how excited you are when you set an appointment. Because I can tell you, in the office where, that I owned myself, and we would do this exercise, and we did it on Saturdays, actually. And people would go out on Saturday, they would set an appointment. And I can't tell you how giddy people can be, we can be, because getting that first appointment is the hardest. But this is easy. It's a slam dunk, everybody. You just got to do it. All right. So what questions do you have? I'll be happy to answer anything that you might have. Yes? No?
Hey, Jim, I just shared, because I had it on my phone, the marketing plan that we did. So I've shared it with some people. Who else is on this call? So
Brittany and Julie and Kara and Mahoma and Michael.
Oh, and Paul's on there.
And Paul. Yeah. Paul's here.
Paul might need it.
Yeah, right.
Jim.
Yeah. I think Paul has a pretty good command of what to do.
right?
Yeah.
So, and anybody else that wants it that I missed, because I just now realized, hold on, let me change yours. But it's
Where did you
awesome. I
put it,
take
Kim?
it,
Did you put it
I
on the
just-
Facebook page?
I can put it on the Facebook page too, but I actually sent it a text, so I'll put it on our Facebook page also.
Yeah,
Cause
put it
it's
there.
mine and I altered it a little bit, but I think it works. I put it in every one of my listing packets, and then I've showed it to my mother, and
Well,
know.
and your mother's the hardest of all to get, right? I mean, family is generally the hardest client to get because they
Yes.
really know you and they know of your, you know, some of the things that you're not the very best at. They know you. And so you've got to actually do even better for people
Yeah.
that you're related to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it there.
Michael, you got
Jim,
any
a couple
questions?
comments? Yeah,
Yeah, please.
a couple comments. First of all, thank you. I think it was a great presentation. Generally speaking, the biggest obstacle to this is probably looking in the mirror when you look in the mirror in the morning. Because human nature is we anticipate objections and roadblocks that in some cases aren't even there. You know, it's an easy assumption. There's a sign in the yard that says for sale by owner because I don't want to pay a commission. It may not be that. You really don't know. And until you make that phone call, you won't find out. And for example, one of my neighbors, I shared with you yesterday, I had the same experience and I took Jim's approach and I just started adding value and said, no, I'm not interested in listening, but let me help you. And then they called me in and asked me for a listing appointment. So when I brought up some of the things that he's mentioned. So number one, you really don't know why they have that sign in the yard. Number two, I find a big reason is there is in a lot of the general public a little bit of disrespect about the professionalism of realtors, which unfortunately in many cases is deserved. You go in there with this approach and you're professional, all of a sudden you change, you not only change their opinion, more importantly, you change their opinion about how best to get this done. So number one, do it. Don't keep yourself from doing it because you don't know what to expect. Number two, be that professional and take some of those objections off the table from the minute they open the door and they see you, to what comes out of your mouth, to what you handle them. This is a gold mine of an opportunity, and Jim's absolutely right. You can have appointments, and quite frankly, even the ones that you don't win will be learning experiences. And I would recommend if you hear an objection you don't know how to handle, you could put the person you're talking to on hold, and you can pick up your phone and call somebody and say help, or you can learn from it. And don't fake it, don't fall from it. You know, just go back to the office and say, hey Paul, hey Jim, or any of us, you know, this is what I ran into, how would you help it? But most importantly, I agree with what Jim just said. We need multiple channels for doing deals, and this is an excellent one. So thanks, Jim.
Sure. Any questions, anyone?
I mean, I have a bunch of questions, but I might have to take it offline because I don't want to bombard this meeting with a bunch of questions. So I'll probably have to schedule a phone call with you, Jim, and just kind of break down, because I was writing down like a bunch of questions. So yeah. I definitely don't want to bombard this right now with questions.
Well, you know how to get a hold of me.
Yes.
I'd love to, I miss you. I haven't talked to you in a while, Kara. So make sure you reach out.
Okay.
I love being with you. So
hey, one last comment. If in the yard you see a sign that says OBSF, it doesn't mean it's not for sale. It means they're dyslexic.
Okay, I got to write that one down. I don't know, Paul. That's pretty good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Any other questions? Michael in our office is on the call, and Michael is the king of door knocking in our office. He approaches people who he doesn't know. What, an average of 8 hours a week, Michael, where you walk up to a door and you don't make the call, you actually knock the door and talk to people, which is, it takes incredible confidence to be able to do that. But this is even easier than that, because you're on the phone and you're just trying to look at a home, and there's, when you knock a door, people immediately think you're selling something. I didn't invite him here, but there's somebody at my door. I don't know him. But with these, they've already raised their hand and they said, please call me. Please call me. And so you're not interrupting anybody. You're there to help them. And they need to understand that you have the tools to help them. Michael, you have any comments?
Yeah, so it does work. I guess I do have a question. It's probably for the future. Is the next follow-up afterwards? Because I've been to 5 and been in their house and talked to them, and it all goes really well. They rarely, if they answer the phone, they usually don't have objection because they want exposure to their house, is what I've experienced. They're not too picky about who comes in. They just want somebody to look at it. And some of them get really excited. Oh, you have buyers? You have buyers? Or how many do you have? And all that. So I don't think that part's pretty easy to get in. The follow-ups is, I think, what I've had troubles with.
Yeah, well, I think the follow-up for these are the same as for door knocking. Bill Nasby, who is the king of door knockers, was with Remax for years, and then EXIT ended his career with EXIT and was considered the #1 door knocker in the world. Basically said to everyone that he knocked, he said, if you're not interested in listing your home today, I just want to make sure you're the most informed owner in the neighborhood. So when you do go to sell, that you'll know exactly the value of your home. And so you know what? I'm going to let you stay in your house today. I'm going to let you stay, but I'm going to make you the most informed owner on the block. And so I think the approach might be is what can you provide after the fact? Okay, you've gone in the home, you've written down all the stuff. I would think of a way to go back. Mine was, and it was a little different in my area because I was within 20 minutes of anything in my area. Within 20 minutes. It's a little more of a commitment here. It might be an hour there and an hour home, right? And that's a lot of time. But think of things of value that you could provide to them after the fact, or as you're leaving. It might even be a CMA, but you don't want to go to too much work. Can anybody think of what kind of things you could give them, provide to them after the fact in following up that would be of value to them? Can anybody think of anything?
List report generates some great materials that they could have on their counter when they have tours. School calendars. Everybody, particularly people moving with families, are interested in, well, what's, not only is it GCISD, but when is registration days? And having that information on their counters is valuable to the people that walk through the house.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if it's important for you to kind of put yourself in their position and see it from their eyes, act like you live in that neighborhood. Be all in their business with their neighborhood. What's going on the HOA page? What houses are on the market? What just hit the market? What just went off the market? What are the sales looking like? Because those are going to directly affect that seller, regardless of whether they use you or not. So knowing what's going on in that neighborhood, being fully immersed in that, because they see you doing that, it's going to be like, wow, they don't even live over here and they know about that. Hey, I saw that 4 houses down, a house that's comparable to yours, the same floor plan, just sold for, $50,000 over what you're considering selling yours for. This is a huge deal. You could get more money. There's being money left on the table. Things like that are going to be important to them, that are going to directly affect what they are netting once the house sells, whether they use an agent or not.
Yeah, and I think, Brittany, along that method, I think to do that for after is really important for follow-up. And I think it's probably smart to do something, if you have the time, before you make the call or once you get the appointment. I would wait till you get the appointment and then do some research, because remember how important, I mentioned yesterday, how important story is. And you just told a story that might be true by doing research in the neighborhood. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for allowing me to come today. you know, what I noticed is that there are 3 properties within a half a mile of your home that are like properties in square footage, number of bedrooms and bathrooms that sold for considerably more than yours. How did you arrive at your price? And could I help you in maximizing the price? Even if they're not interested in listing, you could do that. So think of ways that you can actually be the person that provides value to them rather than, as Tom Ferry says, having commission breath and spitting all over them that you need a listing really bad and you'll do anything to get a listing. And there are agents like that, and people can tell, they can see it, they can smell it, as Tom Ferry says. So I think that's a good point, Brittany. So think of it, for me, it was a business, it was part of my business plan. I looked for things that would generate business for me, that would generate appointments for me. And you may choose not to do things like this. You may choose, nah, this isn't for me. And that's okay. But I think you need to have things that you do in your business that are going to generate appointments. You know, Kim and Elle, I know are really good and have been working really hard to do networking. And Michael as well. Don't need to or mean to leave anybody out. There's value in those networking events. Maybe not when it's only just exit agents, which has occurred a couple of times, but there's even value in that. But you know, if you're able to talk to other agents, you can learn from them, and you're communicating. You can, as Kim knows, you can have relationships with agents that will refer business to you. So there's so much that you can do with networking and so many other things. Okay, we're at 11:58, so I don't want to keep anybody longer. Kim, looks like you were ramping. Yeah.
So real quick, yesterday I got a phone call from an agent in Lubbock, and she's like, "Are you the broker?" I said, "No, I'm not the broker," but I started talking to her, and you know, I know another girl down there. So I connected her with Paul and Tammy because she has an agent that's up here newly out of school. But in the middle of it, I asked her a couple of things about using her tools and things like that. So you never know who's, you know, when you pick up the phone, who you're going to actually talk to. But this is an agent that's excited about sponsoring, that I got in contact with Paul and them, but that I'll keep in contact with and add her to my database because, you know, you add value when you don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So today is Friday and it's noon. So I'm going to ask for a commitment, just as a general commitment. Who's going to do something today? Who's going to make a call today to a FSBO? Anybody? Michael?
Person with the most listings next week gets $100.
Lahoma?
Brittany's paying for it.
Yeah. Lahoma, you're gonna do it? Make a call? Make a call. Julie?
I'm down.
You're down. Okay. Kara might still be on, but so that's all you need to do. Just make a call today. Set an appointment, get in the house, and then what I'd really like for you to do is let me know how it went. If it was really bad, if you'll never do it again, or whether, you know, it was kind of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to make this one of those things in my business that I'm going to use. You know why? Because if you do this, you can, on any day of the week, anytime, you can say to yourself, I need some business. I need to do something. I think I'm going to call some FSBOs today. And you will have instant appointments and you'll have a chance. You'll have a chance to do something where if you don't, you don't. All right. So I went a minute over. I didn't mean to do that. You guys go out and do it today. Will you please let me know how it went, and good or bad? I would really like to know. And even if you want to make a short 1-minute video that tells me how it went, send it to me. I really want to know how you did. I really want to help you in any way that I can. And so reach out to me. Okay. This is a learning experience. Let's do it. Let's get it done. All right.
Jim.
Thanks for being with me. Have a great Friday. Talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
Jim.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Jim.
Yes.
Wow.
I said, thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.